Your reaction to the Rob Williams news, Mazz?
Yeah, devastating in a lot of ways. And it'll probably be around a month. It could be a little bit longer. Those meniscus tears, I'm assuming he's going to get scoped, could go up to 6 weeks.
So where are you getting this from?
What, the meniscus tear?
Yeah, I mean, this timeline has...
just from experience. Yeah, just from experience. I mean, I remember guys having them. Now, I think it's come down a little over the years. So it could be anywhere, around a month is not outrageous. He could be back in a month. But, this regular season ends on April 10th. And so at a minimum, you're going to miss him for the first round. He's out. For the first round, he's out. So here's what I hope for now if you're the Celtics, or here's what they should hope for. That you don't end up as the number 1 or number 2 seed. You don't have to face Brooklyn or whoever comes out of that in the first round. You get a favorable matchup. You can win without him in the first round, and he's back for the second.
Well, they should now be tinkering for the seeding. You want an easier draw in this first round. I think it's not a killer, but it's brutal.
Well, then I'm sorry to just cut you off. Then you want the 3 seed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because the 1 or the 2 risks the Nets in the first round.
Correct. You want the 3 seed. Yep, absolutely right. You want to avoid the 1 or the 2 seed. You don't want who's coming out of that play-in round. And so, to me, if they lose a couple of games here and they slide back down, that might not be bad. So I just think he's a big part of it. I think he's the third most important guy. All due respect to Marcus Smart, I think Williams means more. I think that he, the shot altering in and around the rim and on the 3-point line. Watch him out on the 3-point line when he gets out there, and guys have to alter their shots.
It's huge. When they switch onto him, he flashes out there and disrupts shots.
Absolutely. I'd love to see a stat on what guys shoot from 3 when they have to shoot over Robert Williams. I bet it's really low. And look, on the offensive end, it speaks for itself. He moves the ball. He doesn't shoot a lot. The lobs at the rim. I think it's a big loss. I don't think they can win a championship without him.
Other than Tatum and Brown, there's no one on this team since the beginning of this calendar year more valuable than Robert Williams. You feel his presence on defense every game and his ability to run the floor too. This sucks.
Okay.
There's no other way to say it.
I think Smart is slightly more valuable than he is, but it's close. I also think it's not a total fluke, not total bad luck.
Well, he's got a history of injuries.
Right. He's not durable.
Right.
I mean, we talked about it forever. Now there's an unreliability thing to him that this isn't about. This is a straight injury, but this is part of the Robert Williams package. This is part of the deal.
Yes.
He misses time. He gets hurt. He's not on the floor. He's not reliable. And so, if you had asked me what are the biggest concerns on the team, or, are there any with the way they've looked? God, they've looked so good. Are there any concerns going down the stretch? My number one thing would have been the durability of Robert Williams and or the minutes these guys are playing. Even last night, weren't Tatum and Brown playing with 4 minutes left in the game?
Yeah, he keeps those guys way too long in these blowouts.
What are you doing?
Way too long.
And they're nursing knees, apparently. I mean, I don't know. I wonder. And the first thing I thought last night, and so it didn't turn out, but I thought they might have been playing up Williams' injury because he's unvaccinated and they didn't want to out him in that game in Toronto. So why'd you miss the Toronto game? It's because of a knee. Why'd you miss the Toronto game? It's because of personal reasons. Al Horford, or maybe Jaylen Brown will sit out because of a knee. Whatever. I don't know. If you don't want that to be a story, you have him sit out the game with a minor injury versus being unvaccinated, and that's what I first thought. So apparently that's not the case. It's much worse. But so that's one. It's not a total fluke. I mean, Robert Williams is a very important guy, and he's not reliable, and so this just sort of reared its ugly head. It's not totally out of left field, I would just say. It's part of his package. I still think they should beat most of these teams.
I agree. And this is why the matchup matters, though, in the first round. Because with Tyson Horford, and I say Tice, don't get me wrong, okay? But he's a guy that can play some defense and run the floor. Okay, that's it. He's not Robert Williams. But at least it's the same sort of style, albeit at a lower level. You should be able to beat Cleveland and Chicago with those two guys.
Cleveland, Chicago. I even want to say Miami. I do, with the way they're going. And that bubble may have burst. I don't know. You still have the high-end talent over Miami. You do. I still want to say Philly. I don't believe in Philly. I think Harden's a loser. That's just waiting to happen. And it's not like, as I just sort of discussed, the way the game's played, it's not like Rob Williams is on Joel Embiid 40 minutes a night. There's a high pick and roll. There's a switch. Someone has to flash onto someone else. And it's like, it's just really not, it's, the days of Bob Lanier guarding Kareem on the block for 40 minutes, and it doesn't exist. It's just not the way it's played anymore. So it's not really the one-on-one matchup of Williams versus Embiid, I don't think. It's just the generic rim protection, him coming from the weak side and swatting someone at the rim, or switching to someone on the three-point line, as you just said, and getting his hand up and, disrupting a shot that way. Major force there. But I still think Philly's a trash team.
Yeah, so Philly concerns me less because Embiid's going to have his way with anybody. He's just too strong. Miami, I disagree with you on because of Adebayo. I just think Adebayo becomes a much bigger problem without Robert Williams. And so, but again, you're not going to have to play them early on anyway, so maybe you get them in the second round. But if you get Brooklyn in the first round and then Kyrie or Durant can go to the rim, and that worries me. I don't want any part of Brooklyn in the first round now.
So Brooklyn, I still put him up there just because of what I think of Durant and Kyrie Irving, a brilliant player, and if he's now playing at home. But he played at home last night, and they lose at home to Charlotte, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah.
So it was Irving and Durant.
Their defense still sucks. The coach doesn't know what the hell he's doing with their
Kyrie
defense.
was dreadful last night. He went 6 for 22 or something.
They don't know how to play defense. And Kyrie gets jumpy. He gets ahead of himself. He gets ahead of himself here when he plays in Boston. And maybe the moment last night was too big for him because it was his first home game and everyone was amped up and he kind of crapped himself. He had some shots late, just looking at the highlights. But he was 6 for 22?
Something like that.
It was awful.
So, I feel the Nets are still kind of a mess. I feel like the Sixers have always been a mess. I don't trust them. I don't trust Embiid. Never mind James effing Harden.
No, look, the way that they've played since the beginning of the calendar year, and you still have Tatum and Brown and the high talent, and I don't think the defense is going to dip all that much. It's not a killer. It sucks that they've lost Robert Williams, but it's not a killer for them.
I still think they should win most of these series, and I think they should win the games until it's time for Williams to come back. My big concern is what he does when he does come back, because that, again, he is not a durable guy. He is not someone that has played through injuries. That is not someone that has played hurt and, have that track record. He's always going down with something. And I'm not telling you he's faking it or solid. This feels like a real injury and all this, but that is in his that's on his resume. That's what he is.
No, you always usually add the words when healthy. This thing just came up late last week, Maz, right? Like when Joe Murray was here, we were talking about things you can nitpick, and it felt like they're playing with house money with Robert Williams.
I mean, it was the first thing. If you were to say somebody key was going to get injured, he'd be the first guy you pick.
Yeah.
Definitely.
He'd be the first guy you pick. It's just, it's... That part's an absolute fact. And he's brittle, and there's issues there and all of it. It's just a horrible time to lose him. I mean, they were playing so well.
Otherwise, the team is out of their boobs.
Yeah, I think if they're all healthy and playing like that, championship or bust. The way they're going, they have to run him. They didn't even play that well last night, if you ask me. I thought that they were sloppy, turning the ball over, doing stupid things. And I looked up, and they were still up 19. It's just because I thought they were making some mistakes that they typically make early on. They can run people right out of the building. They're so freaking athletic, and they're executing and all of it. They can play badly and still beat you by 20.
So here's a little adversity. How do you feel, do we know this piece about them?
Nope.
No, we don't.
Well, we do, actually, that it can go either way.
Yeah, so that's sort of that was another shoe to drop. What happens when they face some adversity?
I'm worried about it.
So here you go.
Yes, I'm worried about it. I mean, this was the number one thing on the list. It's part of the reason I didn't like all these blowout wins. I wanted them to have to fight for some wins and have to deal with each other's mistakes and all of that. And so I'm you add up the two, and I'm eager to see how this thing looks now in the final 7-8 games, whatever it is.